If you're going to be buying off-market land, then you are going to need to apply generally for planning permission because it's not likely to have it. We do recommend this because it's going to give you the best profit potential rather than going to the likes of Rightmove, Prime Location, Zoopla, where you're going to find on-market land overpriced and in too much demand. And so in this video, what we're going to talk about is the different types of planning permission, who you might use to submit that planning application, because that can have a significant impact on the success of your planning application. The need for a project plan, the construction methods that you're going to use, and the specification for that construction, which will have an impact on your costs. What you're going to do with the water. This is foul water, which is going to come from the building, and surface water, which is going to come from your roof and surfaces of your development site. And how are you going to dispose of that? Because again, that's a planning consideration, will have a considerable impact on your application and can cause it to actually fail. So a little bit just about myself. My name is Jim J. Davidson. I am a property developer. Acquired my first investment property in 1973, started my own business in 1983, built up a small chain of convenience stores, and started my current company in 2003, a property development company. And I've recently purchased in the last year a book called You, a Property Developer, which incidentally you can get a copy of for free at the moment, or at least at the time of this recording. Anyway, let's get on to the meat and potatoes of this particular video. So the different types of planning application. There's actually about 17 or 18 different types of planning application. We are fundamentally only really concerned with two. One is outline planning permission, and the second is full or detailed planning permission. So outline planning permission simply says that there is a piece of land, and in principle you can build X number of homes. It doesn't specify exactly what the type of those homes are, but it basically gives you in principle. It may not even specify the number of homes, but it may give a range of homes. Detailed planning is going to be a much more complex, or full planning is going to be about actually specifying what those buildings are going to look like from the exterior. So it's really fundamentally concerned with how it's going to look in terms of the landscaping and also in terms of the building mixture. So they're really concerned with the aesthetics and whether that actually fits in with the current theme that is, in other words, the surrounding buildings. So new builds obviously against old builds, there's going to be some differences, but what they're not going to want to see is something that is a big departure from the existing sort of houses around that area. So outline planning permission is a much obviously simpler application and less costly, in as much as that you don't have to prepare detailed drawings. However, more and more recently, they've been asking for more and more issues to be resolved in terms of submitting your planning application as an outline planning application in the first place. And so a lot of the things that used to only come into full planning applications are now coming into outline planning applications. So it's really a consideration of which you should actually go for. Also, there can be some concern, particularly if it's a little bit controversial, your plan, then a full detailed planning application may be much more persuasive in getting the planners to approve your planning application. There is also another, if you get the outline planning permission, then what happens is they then specify what they want to see in the full application, and that's called a reserved application. So from outline planning you go to reserved matters, which would then give you your full planning permission. So who might you actually use to submit these applications? Most people think the best person would be an architect, and while architects are very good at design, very often you're actually far better with a town planning consultant. Town planning consultant are specialists in putting in planning applications. They understand planning law and can give you the best chance of achieving a successful outcome to your planning application. And then moving on, having selected, which I would recommend, a town planning consultant, you then want to start planning out your project. So this is a time when you'd actually create your project plan, should I say, in order to make sure that you understand all the steps that you need to take in order to make this a successful development site. At this time also, you're going to be considering construction methods. While it's not actually the construction method that's part of a planning application, you want to be considering that because that will have an impact on your costs, as will the specifications. So you're thinking more in terms at this stage of the external specifications rather than internal specifications. So the external specifications in terms of how you're going to finish the outside of it, what sort of materials are you going to use, what sort of landscaping are you going to incorporate. These will all be cost considerations. So as I said before, planning applications is more about the outside rather than internal, or how you're going to construct it. That's part of what you go into when you're talking about building regulations, building control, building warrants, as it's called in Scotland. And that will be the subject of the next video. Another consideration you need to be thinking about is the water. You're going to have two types of water. You've got fall water and surface water. Very rarely today will the water companies allow you to take the surface water and put it into the sewer. And so therefore you've got to understand where the availability of the sewer is and how you're going to dispose of, first of all, the foul water. How are you going to connect to that? Is that connection on your land? Do you have to go over somebody else's land? Do you need permissions in order to do that? In terms of surface water, how are you going to dispose of that surface water? Will it soak away? Is there clay in the ground and therefore that's going to inhibit the soak away? What provisions are you going to make? Now, the reason that you need to be thinking about this at this stage, in fact you're thinking about that actually prior to this stage, this is going to be part of your viability assessment, but one of the reasons that you're going to need to think about this at this stage particularly is because it's going to be a planning consideration. So the planners are going to want to know what you're going to do with this water, and they're going to want to see approvals from the water authorities. So this will carry on in tandem with your application having been submitted, but it's a necessary component that you need to think about. So that's kind of a very brief overview of the planning proposition that you need to make in order to achieve a successful planning outcome. As I said before, if you want to get a copy of my free book, as I said, this is free now at the time of recording, then please, there'll be a link in the description below, and there will be just at the end of this video, there'll be a little banner which you can click on as well. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, then please subscribe. And as I said, the next video is going to be dealing with building control and the considerations that you need once you have planning permission in order to allow you to build. Because planning permission itself doesn't allow you to build. You need to pass building regulations, which is about the structure and how you're going to put that together. So that will be the subject of the next video. If you want to see that video, then it will be here. And if you want to see the video which is about buying a development site and the negotiation process, then that video is here. Until the next time, take care, and I look forward to speaking with you then. Bye-bye.